Well, I will apologize in advance for the fact that I may be too close to the camera, but at the end of the day, I am not a legit YouTuber. I just have a YouTube channel. It's a big difference. Now, if you're joining me in this channel, you're one of the rare few, or maybe you know me personally and you feel sorry for me, which is also appreciated because you know what? It doesn't matter the rationale in which you do something or the expression of it, it matters that it gets done. That's why I always debate when people say like, "Oh, I'm such a good person. The world is so difficult." It's like, maybe we're not good enough to solve the problems. Maybe we don't have enough money to solve the problems. I feel like it's kind of weird. That's how like the whole Sam Beckman-Fried thingy took up a lot of momentum because he was talking about virtuous like altruism. I forgot the actual terminology of it because I find it as a very interesting concept in terms of the theory of it, but obviously it's very easy for like a nefarious individual to co-opt such a movement. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just gonna talk with you guys about things that you can do in order to become a better technician. You can actually apply this to your job as well. I'm trying to be a better version of yourself, quote unquote. Oh my god, I drank too many Chobani protein shakes. So I'm like very, because I've been doing this thing whereby like I'm trying to lose weight, so I drink a lot of protein shakes to keep myself satiated. Cause if that boy hungry, I eat everything and whatever. So let's talk about it. I feel like the fundamental thing that you have to recognize in your employment or whatever is very simply just be useful, be a utility. Because I feel like at times we kind of have visions, which is good to have some entrepreneurship perspective in terms of the job that you want to do. But at times, a lot of people, it's as if we're procrastinating from getting the actual thing that needs to be dude, the actual things that need to be done, like the unsexy aspect of your job, for example. So the one thing I've kind of realized and kind of like it kind of helps you too. It's very simple. Like if you're in an industry and you're working at a job, when people make a judgment about how good you are, it's usually job experience. But the problem is it just measured in time without actually thinking is the experience actually relevant, Because let's be honest, anything you do on a day-to-day basis is probably just generally significant but not particularly significant unless you get like a certain project that you're really into or something that really challenges you and all those kind of things. So I feel like the first thing you got to do as a technician or whatever it is that you are working on, just do the job as you're told, right? Obviously, you know, you still got to be able to like take initiative and all that shit, but just do the job as you're told, as it is. Because that's why you're there. Because you have to understand sometimes it's like your ideas may be good ideas, but they be irrelevant within that context. And if you don't actually do the job to actually gain a reputation in which you can be in positions to actually make sure like the ideas that you bring to the table get taken seriously, then you're just wasting your time because it's kind of like you sound as if you're all talk because you don't even have the platform yet to show that you can actually get stuff done. Because I feel like the one thing that a lot of people miss out on, ideas themselves are not particularly special. It's about the application and execution of it. There's a lot of ideas that exist in the world. Literally, if you just sit around in the shower, you're a lot of us have a lot of ideas and stuff like that. And most of them are very brilliant ideas, but the problem is the execution gets done by the boring stuff. And if you're working for someone, you're working for someone's idea, you gotta learn the execution part of it. And it's a good muscle for you to practice once you start doing your own shit. You're used to doing the hard and boring work. Because I feel like a lot of people would get obsessed with like, how can I make this more scalable? Yeah, you gotta scale from a certain coefficient that, you create a multiple on it. Scaling isn't actually an addition. It's about having an entity functioning like at a multiple, like an exponential rate, you know what I mean? So you got to make sure that core base is really, really set solid. I know that's a roundabout way of just doing your job. A lot of people don't hear that because we're like, I'm so brilliant, I'm so this. I'm like, yeah, it is. You are. but you gotta also be particularly useful in the industry that you're working in. And then the second one, which is the most important, customer service or working with other people. And I'm not talking about being like a pick me, quote unquote, or like just finessing the system. Let's be honest, that works for some people. But then sorry, my lips are dry. But then the reason why a lot of people end up missing out or like not executing the way they actually should be executing is because you kind of create tension as opposed to like solving the task or the problem at hand. I mean, you don't have to be necessarily trigger happy with everyone or whatever, but just don't be a dickhead. Because I feel like a lot of people, especially brilliant people, they make this mistakes of thinking that the skill set that they have is all they need in the employment they do, in the business that they start, but then they forget the people side of things. Because any single thing that you pursue or want to do, especially if it's in a relation with other people, the success of it matters in terms of like the people you're working with to accomplish those goals, the people anticipating or receiving the product or the value that you're offering. If they don't fuck with you, they don't fuck with you. Like, there's a lot of brilliant products that exist that no one gives a fuck about because no one really relates to the individual that started them. That's why it gets very dicey. Even you can see the general trend in terms of like this the tech startup or like Silicon Valley whole thing. It's like a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on the politics that they portray because they're trying to reflect and relate to Satan audiences. I mean, obviously, since people's minds change for different reasons, especially politically, you'll see them flip flop, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop, and you can say they have no backbone, but then you can also argue they have their backbone, and the backbone is the business, and they're trying to be relatable to anyone else, but also be true that you don't flip-flop your own morals. Because the thing is, they have a business and they realize it's producing so much that they can flip around in public in their persona because they're getting the bag. But then you have to realize too, if you're going to be in a business or a job, you can't just flip-flop around because you don't have the same cachet in the business. You don't have the same resources or revenue to like, it's not worth you trading that. And you have to realize that the place that you work at, your place of employment, is the place you're going to spend most of your time at. It doesn't matter how much they pay you. You have to realize that's your life. I think there's a quote I've been trying to live by. Obviously, it's never successful that we live by quotes. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I usually have it on my landing page on my Notion. It's like it just smacks me right in the face every time I log in. Because I think it's very important that a lot of people hear this. Oh my god, let's see. Oh my god. 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 Oh, it's actually by Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche. So, whomever does not have 2/3 of his day to himself is a slave, whatever he may be, a statesman, a businessman, an official, or a scholar. And that's one thing you have to realize, like, just because there's things that you have to do or things that you should be doing, you also have to be conscious as what it is that you are and what you value, that everything else that you're doing aligns with that. That's why obviously the whole thing of follow your passion is not the best advice, because usually your passion becomes a job. You hate your passion, but you need to be passionate about the things that you're doing. So it's kind of like there's a proximity. That's why it's not like a full 100%. There's a proximity in terms of like the efficiency, in terms of like your output, as well as like the fulfillment that you're feeling. So yeah, keep note of that, man. I don't know how else to put it. And then lastly, I'm trying not to make this have too many points, quote unquote, just so that you can focus on 3 basic things. And then lastly, in terms of like how it is that you would try to become a quote unquote better technician or whatever job it is that you work, just be competent. And you can know everything, I feel like we all know like the Dunning Kruger effect. Like the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And then it's also like with AI coming in right now, it's also like, oh, maybe I can just vibe code my way through a lot of things and stuff like that. But then I feel like you still have to like keep a certain focus in terms of like what it is that you wanna. You gotta keep a certain focus in terms of what it is that you want for yourself. Because the one thing you have to realize, first and foremost, is that at the end of the day, you're just gonna stay with yourself. And that's the product that you can offer fundamentally at the end of the day. And how useful are you gonna become? Because you live in the world that is modernized, blah blah blah. But you don't know the state of the world in a few years. What where it breaks out, the country borders go all over the place. There's an alien invasion, and all like these are just hypotheticals. But we all realize that a lot of hypothetical things that we never even thought about, which is kind of can be hypothetical if you think about it. But I'm just saying about grandiose, unexpected events happen that change the course of history. How many people grew up in certain countries like the ancient like the old Soviet Union, and then they have certain qualifications, but then when they move to different countries it doesn't translate because of the system and stuff like that. So it's kind of like it's not just the acceptance that you're something, you gotta be competent. So that's one thing I've been challenging myself, just just be competent and just be good. Just be good, be useful, be nice. Wow, that's okay way to wrap it up. I know I've been all over the place, but I'm really trying to use this YouTube thingy to like let myself kind of like I don't like saying kind of like, because I feel like there was an English teacher that told me to stop saying that because I hear that a lot. Yeah, this is an experience for me to like communicate better, kind of have a better command of the English language. What say just be a better effective communicator. All right.